Hello and welcome to another video from Let's Excel at Finance. Today we're going to talk about joining data into your Excel files. Typically you'll have some form of data that you'll need to join together, whether it be part numbers, SKUs, maybe it's addresses, names, marketing information, things like that, where you've got the data in different cells and you want to join them together. Before we get into the example, if you have not subscribed to the newsletter yet, please do so. You can scan this QR code and it'll take you to the link, and I've also got the link in the video description. As part of that, you'll also receive some free bonus content as well. So let's get into our example today. So today we've got some information around some employee information, where we've got some data around last name and first name. We've got address information, and we've got some city and state and zip information here. So what we're going to try and do is join these 6 columns together and try and concatenate them all into one block, one cell reference for us to use. So the first piece here we're going to use is the concatenate formula. As the name would suggest, it's going to concatenate all of the cells that we choose into a single formula, and then we'll be able to copy this down through our list. So to do this, we're going to come up to our concatenate, we're going to open our brackets, come to our first cell, and then we're going to press the comma key to go to the next text, and we just carry on through the range. So we'll keep going, clicking and going through with comma after each to complete the range, and then we'll close the bracket and then enter. So we'll notice here that all the data has now been joined together into one single string. Now this doesn't really look very well and doesn't really help us too well. We want to try and break this up a little bit. So what we can do is we can add some additional text within side of 2 speech marks. We can add a space, which will give us a nice break in between our data sets and give us a nice break in between our first and our first and last name. We can continue on with this theme through the rest of our data, remembering that you need to put a comma to separate each of the texts in between. There we go. So now we have the elements broken up with a space in between them. You may also want to, on some of these here, you may want to also include a comma to allow us to break up the data a little bit better. So we've got some commas in between the names of the street and the name of the person, etc. Now this, of course, we can copy down through the rest of our range, and it'll apply the same formula all the way through the rest of that range, applying that logic and putting in the spaces and the commas as needed. The second methodology to do this, we're going to use a VBA command. So those of you that are familiar with VBA, the join command to join text or parameters inside of the VBA editor is the ampersand or the and sign. And so here we can use that on the front of Excel. So we can do equals, we can click on the cell reference, we can do the and sign, and then we can join with the next cell. I'll just show you this example just quickly here. Now again, to add these additional spaces in, we can do something a little bit different as well. Inside of our ampersand here, we can do a quotation mark, open, quotation mark, and then and. So a pro tip here, when you're doing this and over many cells, you can highlight the cells, the formula in the formula bar, Control C to copy, and now you can click the next cell, paste, Control V, Control V, Control V, and keep going until you get to the end. And that's a nice, quick, easy way to do that. You can do that with all formulas, by the way, if you've not done that before, and copy that down. We can also go in and edit this and put in the commas if we so wish as well. And that will bring those commas into the formula bar as well, and we can copy that down. Now the last piece methodology here is the text join function. So text join is a new formula that's in Office 365. It's not available in all versions, but it is going to be deployed across all versions eventually. So this formula works on, you provide it with your delimiter, then it gives you the option to choose whether or not you're going to ignore or include empty cells, and then you put in the cells that you're going to use. So here we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put our speech marks, we're going to put a space and a comma at the first character here. Then we're going to say, do I want to ignore empty cells or not. In this case I'm going to say true, I do want to ignore them, and then I'm going to then go to my range of my cells. So I'm going to go to here with a comma in between them, and I'm going to enter, and there's my nice clean data set, and copy that down. So this is obviously a much cleaner formula than what we had before, and it does have that extra functionality of ignoring empty cells or not. An example of that would be here, if I just take out this word here, it's going to not put me the extra comma in there. Over here I see I have the 2 commas next to each other, right? Because I have the C53 is followed by a comma. So it's giving me the comma here, there's nothing to show here, then it puts me another comma. So I get 2 commas next to each other, which is not technically right. This does allow me to deal with those empty cells. Now, the other thing as well to note here on all of these scenarios is we have these last name and first name the wrong way around. So we can go into each of these and we can change the B to a C and the C to a B. Okay, and same again, we can go in here and change this to a C and change this to a B, and then we can get the names the right way around. Now, one other benefit with this formula, this function, is you can actually employ a range. So I can change this like this, and because I know that I want these to be individual cells and I want them to be in a specific order, but I can go ahead here and change the D through G. Because they're in order, I can actually make that a range. So I can come here after doing the first name and then the last name, put a comma, and I can actually put a range in here. So if you have 100 column wide that you're trying to join, these first 2 examples take a really long time to set up. It's very, very easy to make a mistake and get things in the wrong order, miss where you put your commas in, etc. This makes it really easy. I can put this range in here instead of individual cell references. Now I have the cell references individually here because I want to change the order. If I selected this whole range, it would do last name, then first name, then the address, which isn't quite how I want to show the data. I can then copy this down, and now it's populated all of the data in the right orders with all the delimiters in between the different cell references. Hopefully you found this helpful. Be sure to sign up for the newsletter, as I said at the start, and please subscribe and like the video. Thank you. We'll see you again on the next video.